I do think that there's a much larger number of folks that are very close, but they're still sort of stuck there just because of their culture and their background and so forth.
I see. Well, let's go for
Okay.
some of the things that you mentioned.
All right, so some of the key principles, I think. We'll start off the first ones. We are committed to the application of reason and science to the understanding of the universe and to the solving of human problems. So we're not looking for external verification from some external source coming from a holy, place. We are looking for the application of reason and science to understand our issues and to solve our problems. We deplore efforts to denigrate human intelligence, to seek to explain the world in supernatural terms, and to look outside nature for salvation. We believe that scientific discovery and technology can contribute to the betterment of human life. Certainly, if you look at our lives today versus 50 years ago, there's no question about that. One of my favorite books is the book The Next 50 Years. It's been a bestseller, and it just paints the picture of really what are the problems we're trying to solve 50 years from now. But it also takes a look at 50 years plus back, and it shows how far we've come. And one of the common themes is the role that technology and science has played in bringing all of these disciplines together, and how our learning is continually increasing. And it paints a very optimistic picture for us in many ways in terms of the future.
I see.
When it comes to medicine and our discoveries and science and so forth.
I'll have to put that book on the mini.
Great book.
On my huge list of books to read.
Great
Go
book. We believe in an open and pluralistic society, and that democracy is the best guarantee of protecting human rights from authoritarian elites and repressive majorities.
Explain pluralistic.
Pluralistic is an openness that says everybody's on the same plane. We're all of equal value. It very much fits into the American Bill of Rights, and to a lot of what the America got founded on, that we're all equal, and we all have rights, and we all deserve to have a free expression of those rights, and that means that we need to learn to live together. That's what I would see as a pluralistic society. We are committed to the principle of the separation of church and state. That's a major issue for us. We cultivate the arts of negotiation and compromise as a means of resolving differences and achieving mutual understanding. So I think just a few other key ones here. Let's go to this one. We believe in the common moral decencies: altruism, integrity, honesty, truthfulness, responsibility. Humanist ethics is amenable to critical, rational guidance. There are normative standards that we discover together. Moral principles are tested by their consequences. So I'm sure that you'll probably have a whole show segment just devoted to the issue of morals.
Absolutely.
And this is a key point, is that one of the big differences between the current thinking around morality and values is that you can only have values if they're given to you from some external source like the Bible. And in fact, values come from within. Values are intrinsic and they make sense. And you have values of honesty and integrity and openness and compassion because they make sense.
Absolutely.
And they're measured by their consequences, not because of what somebody externally is telling you. So again, another problem that you have when you're listening to external values, and the best example of that today is terrorism in our world. I mean, these people that are performing terrorist acts are being absolutely in line with their beliefs and what they're being told, and it's a high value that they are establishing. They are trying to honor their God, and this is how they believe that you need to do it. So it all fits. Another one, we affirm humanism as a realistic alternative to theologies of despair and ideologies of violence, and as a source of rich personal significance and genuine satisfaction in the service to others. So this is where it ties in a little bit to the whole self-actualization concept as well, that we really, as we move along and become more mature in our lives, look to reach out to others and improve our world and have the betterment of others. We believe in optimism rather than pessimism, hope rather than despair, learning in the place of dogma, truth instead of ignorance, joy rather than guilt or sin, tolerance in the place of fear, love instead of hatred, compassion over selfishness, beauty instead of ugliness, and reason rather than blind faith or irrationality. So that's sort of is a mouthful and really lays
That's
it all
quite a lot
out.
of subjects in that one
A lot
sentence, yes.
of subjects.
That's
The
right.
last,
Well, we definitely don't believe in sin because the idea that sin was produced by man to control man
yes,
and not given divinely,
Right.
Not given with any divinity or supernatural deity.
right. Well, this is one of the real problems with Christianity, if I may, is that most of Christianity says and holds that man is intrinsically evil, that our internal nature, if you will, is sinful. And the way really sin is defined among Christians is to be apart from God. So if you say that you're on your own or making your own decisions, that is the deepest sin you can really ever say, that you're not just obeying God or trusting God. And then all of these other things sort of fall under it. So again, it's a real problem.
Well, that's one of the misnomers of atheists, is that simply because you're atheist, you're bad, because
Right.
you have neglected to actually validate
Yes,
that man is sinful.
right.
And the whole idea, the whole superstitious and mythical concept that we were born in sin, kind of just shudders me occasionally, because how can we be born of sin? That's total myth and superstition.
Well, there's so many other deeper issues. I mean, one of the things I really wrestled with a lot was the whole idea of how did Satan ever happen? Satan was God's right-hand angel, apparently. He was his number one guy. And all of a sudden, what caused him to want to go against God and say, I'm going to try to take you down, God? I mean, that's a pretty tough story right there from the outset.
Well, especially if God is omnipotent and can
He's
control all the
omnipotent and
angels.
all-powerful. Not to mention
didn't
the
have to
whole
do that.
story of the Garden of Eden.
That's right.
You had a perfect creation, and right out of the gate, you
Yeah.
got this perfect person saying, I'm going to go against you. I mean, it's just...
Well, we have a
it's
whole
just crazy.
subject
There's
on
a whole
sin,
subject
but
on it.
one of the things we're going to be talking about is if God was omniscient,
Yeah.
he knew that the Adam and Eve would eat the apple.
Exactly.
And so he basically set them up.
Right,
So
exactly.
if that particular thing was determinism and not free will,
Right.
humans are not to blame for their sin in the first place. So you
it's-
have one more thing to add to this. Is that correct?
Just that we believe, in summary, we believe in the fullest realization of the best and noblest that we are capable of as human beings. And this really is sort of a lead-in for the whole idea of self-actualization.
Well, I'm going to be bringing up a pyramid structure that I think the psychologist that you mentioned, I've forgotten his name
Abraham
already.
Maslow.
That's right. And he has a wonderful illustration
Yes.
that he thought about to the guide for, or the things that are necessary before you achieve self-actualization.
Self-actualization,
That's
yes.
right. And that's actually something that we should be talking about on a whole other subject.
Absolutely.
That's right, because if we look at mammals around the world, mammals want safety and security.
Absolutely.
And that's the foundation. They want their basic needs met.
Yes.
And unfortunately, they don't have the brain structure
Right.
to go to self-actualization.
Right.
But they can actually achieve emotional stability,
Right.
which is one of the other things that we need to get.
Well, and just the point on animals real quickly. I think one of the reasons why still so many people believe in a deity or in a God being is this whole issue of creation, that it was hard to believe that we could have actually evolved. But the thing that gives me a lot of hope for the future is that as science does progress, and now especially with the unfolding of the DNA molecule, that is now making it very clear that we are absolutely related to animals.
Well, Dave, thank you very much for coming
pleasure.
today.
Yeah, my
It was
pleasure.
a pleasure to interview, and I'm sure I'll have you again.
All right, I look forward to it. Thank you.